Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Trailmakers, and I think I've invented another form of sail propulsion. Now, a couple episodes ago, you may remember this version of sail propulsion, which actually looks pretty cool and works decently, but I came up with another idea that I think is going to be another unique take on sail propulsion, so let's just get into it. If you missed that video, by the way, check it out after this one. All right, so the idea I have for this is a land-based vehicle. And the idea that I have in mind, I'm gonna try my best to explain it so you know what I'm attempting here. So basically the idea is to have a sail attached to pistons that is going to scoop the air in this way, turn, scoop the air in this way, turn, and keep doing that back and forth. And then I'm gonna have rows of them doing this, and hopefully that'll direct the force forward. And the more sails we have, maybe we'll be able to get up to a decent speed. And so this is mainly gonna take a lot of programming and timing with pistons and servos and stuff like that, but I think it could look really, really cool. But I do sense this is probably gonna be a pretty wide vehicle, so I'm gonna make this thing pretty wide. And I'm using these grid blocks because they're a decent amount lighter than the block equivalent. All right, I think this should be a good start. So now we got to create the mechanism. This is going to be the hard part and the main part. Everything we're doing depends on exactly this. So as I start building this, the potential flaws are starting to become more and more apparent. I don't know if these pistons can support the weight of what I want to do here. These are going to be some heavy pieces, I think. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, the pistons look like they're pretty straight. I don't know what the controls of the pistons are by default. Okay, there we... Oh, that's why they're pretty straight, because they're all... Oh my goodness. They all got attached to the frame. I need to have them separate from the frame like this. Okay, now is it... Okay, it still looks way more stable than I was expecting. Oh, wow. I thought it was gonna flop down, but they're actually more rigid than I was expecting them to be. Okay, so now clearly we need to increase the speeds of these things. Oh my goodness, look at that. All right, so right now that should do nothing, but what if I have this turned? And then I would have it turned that way. Let me put a bigger sail. It's giving us some forward momentum, but it is definitely not nearly enough. So let's use a bigger sail on this. All right. Oh, look at that. Did you see that? Look at that forward. It puts us at like, it bumps us up to like 7 kilometers an hour. So if I can program this to be automatic and go back and forth like really quick. Look at this forward moment. This is going to be such a weird looking creation. And I can even add more pistons. Let's see how many pistons I can add. If I want this thing to go from one side to another, so it spans the whole vehicle. Let's see what we got to do here. Oh man, this is good. Guys, this is going to work. This is such a cool thing. All right, this is looking so promising so far. Is this going to be an actual successful idea? Oh no, what's happening now? Why is this all loosey-goosey up here? I can't have that stuff happening. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this and put it back and see if that works. Okay, so why does Trailmakers have to do this to me? Why can't the rest of you just be normal? All right, well, maybe if I just add more to this, it'll fix it eventually. Let's focus on, we need to program this now. I need to create a whole system that does this back and forth automatically. All right, I think I got the pistons worked out. So all I'll do is just hold down a button and you can see they go back and forth, no problem like that. So when I have another one on the other side, this should cancel out this sideways motion. I'm going forward with this alone without even having to do this like turning thing. And then, whoa, I don't even have this timed right yet, and this is already making me go really fast. This is impressive. Okay, this rotating servo is going to be harder to program because these pistons, fortunately, have an auto reset thing. So all I do is press this, and when it gets released, it automatically resets. So I don't actually have to do both controls. But for this one, I think I'm going to have to use logic to make this work. Okay, so there's one side. Now I need to figure out how to get it to switch over to the other side right afterwards. So if I have this delayed by half a second, that should be it, right? Okay, that was pretty simple. That front wheel, though, that front wheel is still messing everything up right now. I'll worry about that later, though. So now I have to have this timed in conjunction with the pistons. All right, I think I've fixed the wheel, and I think I've programmed this. Not only does it have forward, but it also has reverse. I just had to use these logic gates in the back. So when I press W to go forward, check this out. We actually get a lot of speed going forward. And then if I want to go backwards, I just press W and, oh, hold on. There we go. There we go. Now it's catching it backwards. It has to be at the right time. Look at that. This is working out way better than I thought. Okay, so now here. Oh, let's see what speed we get with just the one sail, because I want to see if I double up those sails on that servo, do I go faster? So it looks like we hover around 50s. We're just in the 50s. We're pretty much like 52 to 59. So now if I do this, do we go significantly faster? We're breaking into the 60s, but there's a lot more sparks happening. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the cause of that is. Is it because there's more weight on this, maybe? Let's see how it feels without it again. I mean, there's still some sparks, but there's not any, like, collision sounds. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it like this for now. All right, so now all I gotta do is mirror this entire thing onto the other side. All right, did that retain all the controls, too? Okay, they are... Oh, interesting. Yeah, the servo needs to be reversed. There we go. Oh, yeah, this is it. All right. Now, I gotta experiment with bigger sails. I know this is gonna make this logistically more complicated, but these sails are more taller, so it looks like... Oh, yes, that's what I was hoping. These sails don't take any more length. They just take height. So that means I can fit them in the same area. All right, now check this out. Let's see if we go faster now. We were going around 60 with the other two. So now... Oh, we're sparking a little bit. We're in the 60s again. 60 still feels pretty good. I should add steering to this as well so I can actually steer. And then if I want to slow down, just like that, I can even go backwards. All right, the sparking is making me a little uncomfortable. I might be able to adjust that by raising them up by a block. Whoa, that's interesting. Oh, it's having the weird loose connection thing for some reason. See, this one's all loose. This is really affecting the speed a lot, whereas this one is like really nice and rigid. I don't know what determines that. It seems to be some type of weird glitch or bug with Trailmakers. So maybe I should just revert it back to the way it was before. This is not an improvement. All right, so I have a feeling that adding more sails to this and more length isn't going to give us more speed. I think we've reached our terminal velocity on this, but I want to at least try it. I'm going to add 4 sails to this instead of the 2. And plus, it'll probably look cooler, to be honest, assuming that it's stable. Adding stuff to this thing tends to be pretty risky when it comes to this welding glitch. But let's see what happens here. Ooh, 60s. Yeah, we're still pretty much around the same speed. Man, this is really interesting. All right, we might be able to increase our speed through aerodynamics now. Let's check out our aerodynamic profile. Yeah, so these pistons are a big problem, but I don't think there's much I can do with the pistons. I know I can at least add some aerodynamics to these grid blocks, but the pistons expand and contract, so it's not going to be easy to try to cover those. All right, let's see if this helped. Oh, 60. Did I see a 7? No, not yet. I do feel like we're more into the 60s than we were before. We've just gotten a couple kilometers an hour of speed out of this. All right, one thing I could also experiment with is the speeds, because I just stuck with whatever the first programming I got was. All right, so I only have the speed of the pistons like into the 50s. What if I put it all the way up to 100? This might be a bad idea. Whoa, maybe not. We're in the 70s now. All right, let's add some steering to this thing so we can actually drive this thing wherever we want. This is going to be a fully functional driving vehicle. Oh, no. So I did a little experiment, and it is not a good idea. All I did, I doubled up the sails again just to see what would happen, and it just adds way too much wind resistance for this mechanism to handle. I do want to experiment with different sail designs to see if there's potential to get more speed out of this. Like, what about rectangular sails? All right, so here's what the rectangular sails will do. So we were getting around 7. Oh, that's interesting. These are giving us almost the same speed as the giant triangular sails. Okay, so what if I add a triangular sail to the top of these? Is this gonna put too much torque on the mechanism? Okay, we're still at like the same speed. We may be going slightly faster, but it's not looking comfortable. This is not looking comfortable at all. All right, let's try a smaller triangular sail on top of these things. Oh, it still flexes the piston so much. But we're hitting 80s. Oh, I just noticed. We're actually hitting the 80s now. This is the fastest one yet. All right, let's go ahead and turn. Trying to turn at least. It's such a weird feeling. Like there's just spurts and spurts and spurts of energy. Like it is not a comfortable ride at all. But if I want to slow down, oh, what? I was gonna try to slow down in reverse, but it didn't like the stopping, whatever the programming does when it stops. Okay, that time. I guess it's the everything just fell apart. Okay, let's try to go backwards. What? What's wrong with backwards? Backwards doesn't work anymore. It literally kills it. Here's forwards. No problem, and then backwards. What happened? I think... Oh, that's why they're all hitting each other. Because of this torque that happens, that, like, look at, that is such a weird thing that happens, but it makes them all go backwards and hit each other. And then, yeah, that does not work. All right, so if I don't have this on there, now can I go backwards? Okay, I can go backwards like this. They don't hit nearly as, or they don't hit at all, I guess, with this. But I can go forwards. All right, so it seems like this might be the optimal version if I want full functionality. Is just these rectangular sails, which is kind of unfortunate because I really like the looks. I like the aesthetic of the triangular sails much better. Yeah, is this cool? This is pretty cool. Yeah, so it looks like we hover around maybe an average of 70 kilometers an hour. And check out reverse. We can reverse pretty quickly too and just go backwards pretty much the same speed, which is interesting because this is not aerodynamically built for backwards movement. All of the aerodynamics are on the front, so I should go slower backwards, but I don't, which I guess just indicates that the aerodynamics are pretty pointless in this build. All right, just out of curiosity, if I just have this thing facing upwards, is there any chance I can get into the air? Wow, there's potential for this thing to be a flying vehicle too, but it would require an entire redistribution of the mass to make the center of thrust from the sails be in line with that center of mass, because yeah, right now it's just always going to make me go forward because the sails are above the center of mass. So I'm always going to tilt forward, unfortunately. But as a land vehicle, this thing works literally exactly as I had imagined, which that is a huge win for building something in Trailmakers. Usually stuff doesn't turn out this close to the original idea. So I think I've invented a new form of sail propulsion. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, you'll probably enjoy some other stuff that you can find on the end screen right here. Click this video right here. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.